Alright, so let's continue. Now in this part, we're going to look at a few different ways in which we can display the message to the user, the response coming from the API. Now it can be either an error message or a success one. So heading back to the editor, over here at the moment, we are returning back a JSON. As you can see, the server error, we are returning back a JSON, and we can do the same thing for the success one, which would happen at the very end. Like instead of sending back the order right away, we can actually send back in a similar structure where success would be true and the message would be order successfully confirmed. Now this is one way in which we can do it, but think of it from a user's perspective, that actually receiving a JSON in response doesn't seem much intuitive. Now the other thing to keep in mind is that I've installed a Chrome extension to parse the JSON. For a user who has not installed the same extension, they're gonna see something like this. So as you can see, it's not that intuitive and doesn't look nice. So in this part, again, we will be looking at a few different ways in which we can properly show the message in a good way. And you must have seen it in different sites and different platforms where the message is there like somewhere in between in the center of the screen, and respectively an image is there as well, like related to the message. Like for example, if we take this one, link expired or order is already confirmed, then along with the message we can show an image somewhere around here, like an icon of link and some like a cross on it, something like that. You do get the point. So let's do that. Let's actually cover the very first part, like the very first way to do it. Now the other thing is that you don't have to follow the same thing what I'm about to show. It's more of like on the part of understanding the different ways. So firstly, in the pages directory, we could have created a page for the confirm order. Like instead of the API that we have, we could have made a page for confirm order. Again, you don't have to do this, confirm order, and handle the entire thing, the entire server-side logic that we have in the API within the getServerSideProps right over here. And if we had gone in this direction of using the getServerSide to implement the server-side logic, like the getServerSideProps function, then instead of returning back a JSON, we would have sent back the error to the component with the respective message, and we could have handled it in a proper way. So this is one way in which we could have implemented the entire logic. So that's the first one. The other one is, now the other thing to keep in mind, by the way, that if we had gone in this direction, it would mean that instead of mailing them this URL, the API URL, we would have redirected the user to the confirm order page, and everything else remains the same. Like the order ID would still be a query parameter in the URL, and the user will actually be visiting this particular page with the respective order ID. Alright, now that's the first one. Now the other approach is that we can keep the confirm order the way that it is, like exactly the same, like even returning back the JSON the same way that we have over here, and we can make a request to this API from the client side of our confirm order page. Again, the user would be visiting to this particular page, and somewhere around here we would be making a request from the client side to this API, and depending upon the error message or error code, we can display the UI accordingly. So that's the second approach. First one, using getServerSide, implementing the server-side logic within the page. The other one would be calling the API from the client side and showing the respective UI accordingly. And the third approach would be that instead of having a confirm order page, we can have like a response page. Again, you don't have to do this, and this page would be responsible to show the messages. regardless whether it's an error or a success message. So somewhere around here, what we can do, actually we need the use router to extract the query parameter from the URL, and it's going to make sense in a minute. And getting the router, after invoking the hook, this router, I'm gonna display the entire query object that we get. Router.query. Now having this setup, it has to be in uppercase. Sorry, the first one should be in uppercase. Now, if we have it in this way, then instead of returning back a JSON in such a way, we can redirect the user. We can redirect the user using the backtick to the response page that we just created and append a message query parameter, and we're going to use the encode URI just to be on the safe side and pass in the message in such a way. So if we do that, if we do this thing, so whenever any error occur, like whenever this function is called and we throw an error, we are redirecting the user to this response page that we just created, and in here we have the router from which we are actually getting the query object. So check this out. If I refresh, we will be redirected to the response page, and as you can see, we have the message right over here, and within the response we can just kind of format it in any way that we like, and we can just do something like the message in such a way. And if we do that, as you can see, we got the message. So it basically means whatever value that we pass in to the message query parameter, like as a value to this parameter, it will be displayed. Right. So that's like hell other. So that's like the third approach. Now the thing is that just for the sake of simplicity, because we have already created the API for confirm order, what we are going to do is we are just directly going to return back the message. We're going to send back the message in the same way, right? But I hope by now you know that there are other ways in which we can do it, and that's kind of like the whole purpose of this particular video. I'm gonna not message, it's gonna be order successfully confirmed. So this is the thing that you have to do, because this is the approach, this is the direction that we are going in. Now that would be it for this particular video. I just wanted to cover a few ways in which we can display the message in a better formatted way instead of just sending back the JSON. Alright, now the thing is, in the next part, we will be covering something which I cannot believe that I actually missed, and I'm pretty sure that you must be pointing it out at the screen while we were actually adding the entry to the orders sheet that we have. So we got all the fields except like most crucial one, you can say, it is the total amount of the cart. And I'm pretty sure that you must be thinking that you saw it in the very first video, like when I was showing you the demo, which would happen somewhere in future for me right now, as I'm still in the building phase. Anyway, so the thing is, we're going to work on that, of adding the total amount of all the items in the cart in the next video. And we're also going to see a better like a different way in which we can make the code a bit leaner. I've been thinking about it, which is particularly this part, like the authentication. So let's do all of that in the next video, and again, thank you for watching.